My name is Jen Cheney. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Development. You see on your screen here, Christine and Heidi, two awesome individuals on our marketing team we're going to talk about a lot of different things. But please, I do encourage you to ask questions. By the way, I will do my best to get every question answered. For those of you who are listening, I want to ask the question. I may not get to every single question. We've got a lot of topics to cover. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so Christine, Heidi, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves, your name, your title, and just a brief description of your role and how you support our franchisees. And keep in mind that people who have dialed in today, these are individuals who are interested in possibly purchasing a Right at Home franchise. So keep that in mind. When I ask you the question, kind of, cater your answer to, the type of listener that has joined us today. So Christine, I will let you go first.
Thank you, Jen. My name is Christine Schull. I'm Director of Web and Digital here at Right at Home in the corporate office in Omaha. And in my role, I help support all things on our website. I work with an expanded team of individuals here, from copywriters as well as our online marketing specialists, who help make those websites come to life, working with our Google My Business listings and really anything that can help organically help the Right at Home website be found in the different search engines. So promoting visibility and findability.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Heidi, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heidi Ulrich, and I am Director of Brand Marketing. And basically what my role here at Right at Home is to work with our council of franchisees in helping to plan our national media and things that the brand fund pays for in terms of national advertising and promotion. And then also just a lot of the tools and programs that are available for franchisees from a marketing perspective, and just work to make sure they're aware of those and how they can use those and how they can help in their local marketing.
Okay, awesome. Okay, we've got a lot to cover. I think first on the top of my list of subjects that I make sure that we talk about is our awesome new website. You guys, this team, the marketing team, has been working tirelessly over the course of I don't know how many months to release a brand new website. It's not just a simple little task, is it, ladies? Mm-hmm. So Christine, why don't you take this topic and kind of tell our listeners, why we created this new website and some of the features behind it.
Absolutely. So websites are a key part of how different consumers will research, get in touch with different companies as a consumer. I'm sure you do yourself as well. And our website just launched last week. So very exciting. We had our website, 25 years. There's been lots of iterations of the new website, but it's important every couple of years that we look at our user journey. How are people looking for us here Right at Home? What is that messaging? And what are the steps that someone takes when researching how to find care for a loved one? So the new website really was a culmination of our brand journey and continuing to grow, continuing to support the changing needs and really of the consumer's needs of how people look and look for trust factors and want to interact with information and research information. And as they move down that, we call it sometimes in marketing a funnel, when they're first introduced to a topic, does our website meet the user where they are? So we're really happy to have launched our new website with our new brand and guideline standards and really nurture those folks as they go through the process and find that information. So Right at Home is seen as that trusted advisor, really giving great information to folks no matter where they are in their journey, maybe the first time they've looked for senior care or care for a loved one. So that's kind of a little bit on our new website. It just launched, as Jen mentioned, last week. Mm-hmm. So each local office has an instance of a website. So 377 websites were launched in addition to our corporate website, our main website.
Yes. Yes. And keep that in mind. So you guys, if you haven't gone to our website, I encourage you to do that. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It's organized. And the thing that I think that I love about it the most, walking through all the features and new things, it appears that you've made it incredibly simple for people who are looking for services in their given area to go to that local website. And it's so simple and easy and smooth as to how you can inquire how you can kind of assess the type of care that you're looking for your loved one as a consumer, as somebody looking for that care. It's just awesome. You guys have done a phenomenal job. So thank you for that. And the feedback that we've received from our franchise owners has been equally as awesome.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jen. Yeah, it's an important feature. Usability is a big piece.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about kind of shifting gears here a little bit. The holidays are coming up. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we've got, New Year's, lots of things are happening. And we, if you guys can choose who covers this next topic, what are some of the new campaigns that we have around the holidays, why we do that, TV spots, et cetera. Do you guys want to touch on that just a little bit?
I can sure touch on that. So history has really shown that we see an uptick in phone calls to our local offices in conjunction with the holidays. So typically, people may be going home, visiting mom or dad over the holiday, and they may be noticing that, maybe they're not getting around quite as well, or, perhaps, it's a little scary for them to have to leave and go back to maybe wherever they came from, or maybe it's an aunt that doesn't have children and they stop over for a quick visit and they become aware of these things. And so really, we try to run national advertising at those peak times when we know that calls and inquiries for how to take care of loved ones, where we see those increasing. So we try to really capitalize on that, run during those times, so that really to raise awareness of our brand. And really, what the new spot that's coming out, we're really excited. We have a brand new TV spot that was just filmed, and it will be starting to run over the Thanksgiving week. And we're real excited about it. It really kind of illustrates the conversations that families have around, how an aging loved one may want to spend their golden years, really, and really how families don't talk enough about planning for that, so we have a saying that, that people ask young people, where do they want to be in 10 years? But we avoid asking that kind of question to elderly people, when in reality, we should be talking about it, because we need to make sure that as an adult child, we're caring for our parents in the way that they want to be cared for. So many seniors want to live their life out in their home. So what can, how can that happen? That's through in-home care. And so the commercial is really exciting. And it really illustrates that conversation really well.
Yes. Awesome. And you guys, I made the mistake of not mentioning the name of our website. So it's rightathome.net. So those of you that are listening, go check it out. It's awesome. Rightathome.net. And that's actually a question that came in. What's the address?
Great.
What's the URL of the website? So there you go for the one that asked that question. Wonderful. Yes. Okay. So tell me a little bit about, so, we've got, when people think of marketing, it's obviously consumer marketing. So it's, the Right at Home franchise. We're out there marketing for the type of service that we provide, if my loved one needs care, we want them to get the word out there to choose Right at Home as the provider that, gives them that care. But how can you talk a little bit about how we market to caregivers? So there's this specific marketing for the service that we provide, but what kind of marketing do we do to get the word out there about, hey, caregivers, if you're interested in some type of a career in caregiving, what kind of marketing do we do out there right now to kind of cater to caregivers?
So we do a number of different things. We do find that just running TV advertising that's really meant to hit consumers from a care standpoint, we find that we get a lot of caregivers that are looking for jobs that come in as a result of that media as well. So we know that it's awareness, raising the awareness of the brand, which we work really, really hard to do. And so we do that from a caregiver standpoint. So we run some tests of different media to try to, really, how do we find that audience that's really searching for, jobs and does this type of work. So what we've actually been able to do is through a number of different real technical things, I won't get into that, but we're able to look and find people that are actually in market and maybe have downloaded apps to their phone that, so some of the Indeed or some of those other apps that, are job seeking apps. And we're able to really identify who those people are and then target them with pay-per-click advertising. So we do pay-per-click on the client side, but, when someone's searching for a job and they're typing in, in-home care jobs or, however they may be doing that, we really try to key in on those keywords that those people would be using. And then also target them through the apps that they've downloaded and that they're using.
Sure. Okay, got it. And this question just came in, and perhaps you've kind of answered this question already, but I'm just going to read it word for word here. It says, can you talk about your digital marketing plan as it relates to recruitment?
Okay, from a recruitment standpoint, again, so we're looking for those people that have the app, so we know that they're in market for a job because they've downloaded an app, and then targeting them. I think that's important to understand, but also it's about our owners and them marketing themselves as, how they are an employer. What are those best practices that they're demonstrating with their care staff and really then their office staff as well, because that caregiver primarily works with their their coordinator or their scheduler. And so, having that office staff that drives home that culture that we have of, how important that caregiver is. And so it's really, the culture and talking about culture and the things that we do for our caregivers and celebrating them. So right now we actually have a caregiver of the year process where owners can nominate somebody from their office or out of their caregiver staff. And so we're going through that process right now of getting nominations. And so again, just promoting what we do and how we value caregivers is a huge thing. A lot of our offices do a lot of social media, showing that a lot of them have monthly programs. So they're showing what they do, or they just have spontaneous celebrations. And so that's really important as well to use those tools and really get the word out about what a great place it is to work.
Okay, awesome. And you mentioned this earlier, and this is another question that came in. What sources, and you mentioned Indeed, so I suppose it would be in addition to Indeed. What sources do we help franchisees use and optimize to find caregivers? So is there anything else in addition to Indeed that we kind of help with our franchise owners utilize?
Well, our website's a huge one. So, how do they optimize?
I see Christine nodding.
Their local website, and maybe Christine, do you want to speak to that? I mean, it's real important that, whatever you have on your website is what those people are going there to see. And I'll let Christine take over from here.
Absolutely. So on our website, we have the ability to post all of the different positions open at a local office, because we know each office has a different need, a different time that they're hiring, and different staff as their local office grows. So we have the ability to put those job postings up, and we do a little technical back end where we're putting schema and markup so the search engines can easily crawl. As far as additional platforms, we also have in the same ability to run Google paid search ads for any folks that are looking for jobs. Also Facebook, looking for those more passive users who might not be necessarily in market, but they're looking for a change, something that feels good. And so when they're Facebook scrolling, we can see those different promoted sponsorship, if it's chosen to be a paid sponsorship, or an organic listing of, as Heidi mentioned, making sure we're showcasing what's happening in these great offices online as well. So if they did a caregiver breakfast appreciation, that we're showing and making sure that our owners are posting on behalf of their local office, and our online marketing specialist team is here to support them in that if they need a little bit of a boost and reminder of how to post things like Facebook organically, or how to do the different paid pieces on Google and Facebook. The support's there.
We also have, so we have an asset management program that franchisees have access to. So we have lots of materials there that are professionally designed and ready for them to get in and customize. So there's areas of the piece that they can customize. We have a lot of things for them to use from a caregiver recruitment standpoint. And then also, just to use to promote, what they do in their office. I think it's real important from that standpoint as well to use those professional looking pieces. And that just saves time for franchisees, and they don't have to go out and source something local.
Awesome.
And we look at our website as well. I know Heidi talked a little bit about this before. We notice when the television commercials run, specifically coming up here into the holidays, we get a nice uptick in traffic. So when Heidi's mentioning kind of that awareness and who the Right at Home brand is, and making sure that we have that awareness built up, we notice a nice uptick in web traffic. So people become more familiar with the brand, and then we see kind of where they navigate, caregivers as well as those that are seeking care.
Awesome. Okay, so this isn't a question that came in, but I do know that we have a couple of listeners that are pretty educated in marketing, and they have asked some questions prior to our call. And this may be a super loaded question for you. I'm just going to ask it all at once. You guys can take turns kind of answering the question, but can you talk a little bit about keyword targeting, pay-per-click, search engine optimization, or SEO for short, for those listening that don't know what SEO is? So you can kind of talk about, how we work with franchise owners on that and kind of the results that we see from that.
I'll let Christine take this. I think SEO is very, very much a website oriented, target, if you will. So go ahead, Christine.
Okay.
Sure, absolutely. So from an SEO perspective, again, goal to increase organic findability and visibility. So a couple of different components there that we look at really closely. Reviews are a big piece of it, those trust factors, and our Google My Business listing, ensuring that we have name, address, phone number, what we call the NAPs, updated and optimized from an SEO perspective, or a search engine optimization perspective, of those keywords that have local intent. So that's something that is in our overall strategy. When we talk about keywords and how people search, it evolves constantly. Every day there's new search terms being inputted into Google and all of the search engines, and how people look for care. So we have a map, if you will, of our websites of different pages that would speak to those different terms. And that's what we're trying to increase: the findability, visibility, not just at a corporate level for in-home care, senior care, care for fill in the blank, but that's what we're trying to map into each one of those local markets. So SEO is constantly evolving. There's a lot of trust factors in SEO. Page load time, it's not just about keywords anymore. It's also about some of the technical aspects, like that schema on the back end of the website. So something we're always doing, evolving and growing, because digital marketing doesn't sleep. It's changing constantly, and we have to run at the speed that it changes and evolves, and how searchers expect to find information quickly, because that's why the search engines index pages like Right at Home and other pages out there that have great information on caring for seniors as well.
It is so incredibly important in this day and age of everything digital, and how people find us and how they're looking for this type of service. I can't stress enough, and I'm sure you agree, how important that is, that we are at the top of our game when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from a pay-per-click standpoint, we have kind of an always-on strategy. So 12 months a year, we run campaigns that essentially are targeted to each local office. And so that's on pay-per-click. And again, so that it's an always-on strategy, but we do pulse it a little bit, because we do know there's certain months of the year where online demand is the greatest. So we try to then put a little bit more dollars, if you will, during those months when really the demand goes up. So, but we do have an always-on strategy from a pay-per-click standpoint, and we're doing a lot of other digital advertising campaigns for referral sources as well. So we know that our offices, get referrals. And so we want to increase the awareness with that audience as well.
Okay, awesome. So I'm shifting gears just a little bit. So from an outsider looking in, so if I didn't work for Right at Home, and I'm listening in on this conversation, and I'm new to this general type of business, you guys are talking about a lot about, here's what we do. We're talking about the website and SEO and, pay-per-click and all of these things. But can you guys just describe for a second the relationship and kind of how that relationship works between franchisee and franchisor? So if we have a franchisee that contacts us or contacts you, Christine, and says, I have some requests for, my specific website, and here's what I'd like to do. Is that, open feedback, that you're like, yes, that's a great suggestion. Let's work together on that. So kind of describe to me how that works. Do we have complete control over their website? This is it. Or is each website a little bit different and kind of catered to their needs, and how that relationship works between franchisee and franchisor? And
sure,
you can each take your turn on kind of how that works.
From a website perspective, as well as a local office, there's different ways that people search. They might call their carers versus caregivers. So we want the website to reflect the office. We also want it to reflect Right at Home and the brand that we've built. And so a lot of our language, we have brand standards, and those brand standards our colors, it's, the font that we use, it's the language, it's how we talk about our local offices and the care that we give out. So those kind of things we don't typically change for owners. But when we go back to carers versus caregivers or CNAs, each state has some different language that they use when they're seeking people that are looking to apply for a job or for people in their unique market. Sometimes we have a really strong brand presence in certain markets and people are coming straight to Right at Home. So we have to be able to meet the franchisor where they are in their market. And that's the key part, that it isn't a one size fits all. We would love to say, here's a cookie cutter and this works for everyone, but we do work really close with each one of our local offices to customize things that make them unique. So if they are showcasing what they're doing at their local office, we want to bring what happens offline online and make sure that we're supporting that franchisor in getting the information on Facebook and supporting them in how to do so. Heidi's team also does some great local marketing plans and supporting owners and guiding that. So maybe Heidi, you can speak a little bit on how we write those local marketing plans with our franchise and local offices.
Yeah, so during training, as a new owner, what I go through with them is how to create a plan. We have a template, so they can take into consideration all of the nuances of their local market and really then what they bring to the table. And step one, create, what is your differentiator? How, as an owner, what is the passion? How am I going to demonstrate the passion I have for this business and why I chose to do this, so we have owners that, have so many stories to tell, and that's so important. And it's such a great asset because ultimately you want families to trust you. If it's a potential caregiver from a job standpoint, you want a caregiver to trust you because, they're signing up, that's their livelihood, right? So it's really about creating that elevator speech. And then also, what are the tools and programs and how are you going to reach, how are you going to, set goals? How are you going to create a plan for how you're going to roll things out? How are you going to get in touch with the right people? How are you going to meet potential power partners and other people in the community that maybe can become referral sources or just a partner to help you market? So yeah, I go through a template that we have and ask, there's homework that they bring to the table. And then through the RightStart program that we have, the coach that would manage that, actually that they work with them on creating that local marketing plan, if you will.
Awesome. Heidi, it's like you're in my brain. That is the next question that I was going to ask, because these people are brand new, hoping to join the Right at Home system. And an FAQ is, what to expect when you first start. So that was a great recap. So I'm going to ask each of you, and the same question, answer it individually. If you had to give any advice to a brand new owner, so let's just pretend you're talking to somebody who just signed their franchise agreement yesterday. They're new to the system. What is your number one recommendation to them on, okay, as far as marketing goes, in my opinion, here's the number one thing that you should really focus on as a brand new owner? Christine, I'll let you go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say lean in. There has been so much great information collected and collaborated and partnerships with amazing people that have already been vetted. When you open a new office, it's not uncommon for people to knock on your door and try to sell you a bright and shiny object. And I think if there's anything that I can say that I'm so proud of here at Right at Home is it's been vetted. Everything from a marketing perspective, lean in, learn, know what tools are in the toolbox because they're there for you to use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Really ask those questions and know that that support is already written there for you. So I think my number one tip is just lean in and take all of this great information that's been curated and cultivated for you and be open and know that that support is 100% there and really lean in on it. Heidi?
Yeah. So my number one, and what I've told owners that have asked me this question is focus on building relationships, really focus on, showing your passion and getting involved and just build those relationships because you never know, where new business is going to come from, so that next new client, they could become a referral source. It could, like I said earlier, a power partner, really just focus on relationship building for the right reasons and getting involved. So whether that's a local Alzheimer's chapter or Parkinson's chapter, Get involved. And yes, it may take up some time, but that's where you're going to get to show and have a chance to show your passion and really get to know the people, whether Chamber of Commerce. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do that. And a lot depends on your city and what's available to you, but just focus on the relationship and the right reasons for the relationship. So whether that's from a care standpoint, care recipient, or from a caregiver standpoint, you need to market yourself as an employer as well. And so, put that passion out front, make sure that that's visible.
I agree completely. Both of your answers, both very important. And by the way, time flies when you're having fun. We only have 4 minutes left in our call. So for those of you that are listening, if you have a final question that you'd like to ask, go ahead and type it in now. And one thing that I would like to comment is that we've got a lot of people that join the Right at Home system that come from a mixture of backgrounds. So I can think of a franchise owner that that came from a staffing background, which he has given us a lot of really great ideas on recruitment and retention. And so we here at Right at Home really do value the feedback that we get from our franchise owners. And I know I'm going to speak for you guys here. If we have somebody who joins our system with a marketing background, we love that feedback. We love to brainstorm. A lot of our great ideas that we're doing to this very day have come from our franchise owners. So this really is a partnership where we rely on you guys for, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Do you have any ideas? Because it goes both ways. Is that an accurate statement?
Completely. So,
Okay.
So again, our asset management tool that we have and some of the templates, that you can go in and customize and then use, and they look very professional. Some of those were as a result of a franchisee saying, hey, have you ever thought about creating X? And, because it's something I could really see being useful. And generally, if something's useful for one franchisee, it's going to be useful across the network. So yes, there's some of those templates in there that are a direct result of that. And that's just one example.
Awesome.
Sometimes it's a media opportunity that gets brought to our attention. Again, we have to work for national media in terms of being able to serve every franchisee. We have a no franchisee left behind mantra, which really means, that we need to make sure that our brand fund national media that we're running really benefits all franchisees. It doesn't matter if they're in an rural area, an urban area, if they're large, small, doesn't matter. It needs to reach them. They need to see results from it.
Okay. Awesome. You guys, a question just came in. I'm not even kidding you. I can go a little bit over the 30-minute time frame here if you guys are okay with that. I'm going to ask this question real quick, and it looks like this should be a pretty good answer, a pretty easy answer for you guys. Do you have any information on the new website that targets veterans?
We do. So some of our offices really heavily work with the veterans that they have in their communities. There's other particular locations where there maybe isn't a VA or there aren't as many veterans that happen to be as tied or have a strong presence. So there are pages on the website specifically talking about the veterans aid, also ways to pay. So we do put that content on the websites, and we work with the different local offices as far as, is that going to be front and center? Is this a community you work a lot with? Or is this something that maybe this content can live somewhere else? So it's something that we do on a market by market basis, but we do have copy on our new website speaking about that with the veterans aid and assistance.
Okay. Can you give me a brief description as to where that is located on the website?
Sure.
That's the question that just came in.
It's under, let me actually go to the website under the ways to pay page. Let me put it in the chat here. I'll pull it up. That will probably be faster. And I want to make sure I find a local office that has that, because with 377 local offices, there are certain offices that have chosen and others that haven't.
And I'll just speak for a second while Christine's looking for that. Also we have owners that are former vets or that are vets, and so that's a key thing that they feature on their website, because again, they're showing their passion and they're talking about that. But really, we really try to cater your website to your particular circumstance. So we do have, so we have pages that an office can use that corporate's built and that can get reused for their local site to a certain extent. And then we have opportunity for them to provide custom content that can get added to their website as well. So it's not all cookie cutter or anything like that.
Awesome. Okay. Christine, do you see a chat function on your screen here? I don't know that I can utilize that. If you can't put it into a chat box, I don't see a chat box on our screen here. But in the event that you find it, we'll make sure that our listeners get the specific location.
I'll do that. I'll send it over to you. You can send it out.
Awesome. We will make sure
there's certain
whoever asks
offices that have
question,
custom content that they've written about their process, and there's other that we do at corporate here if people choose to put that on their website.
Okay, awesome. So if you're listening, we will make sure that you get the specific URL, and as well as everybody else, that you will get the specific URL as to where to find that on our website. So you guys, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. I know I really appreciate it, as well as our listeners do as well. So those of you, so those of you that are listening, we're going to do this again in a couple of weeks. We will make sure that you get the invitation to that. And again, Christine, Heidi, many thanks to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.